What your financial advisor should know about every single client. In this episode, by the end, you will understand that there are 4 things that the best financial advisors know about every single one of their clients. So I'm Doug Andrew. I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist now for north of 48 years. And during that time period, I've taught thousands of people how to optimize their assets, minimize taxes, and empower what I call their authentic wealth. But also I've taught thousands of advisors. And so in this episode, I'm going to shoot straight with you and show you 4 things that every single financial advisor ought to know about you, their client. Because if your advisor doesn't know these 4 things about you, I worry about how you're going to be able to make it through some of the topsy-turvy market volatility, taxes going up, inflation, eroding away purchasing power, and on and on and on. So I wrote a book called The 10 Keys Transformation for business owners and entrepreneurs. And in this book, I disclose 10 keys that they need to learn if they want to do the best job for their clients. And so in this, the very first key is identify the profile of your ideal client. Don't try to be the jack of all trades or one size fits all advice for everybody. You need to focus on the type of client that you will be able to help the most, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of advisors, anybody that fogs a mirror, they just want to help them and do and implement something. And if they don't make very much money, they will not give you very much of their time or what have you. So let me explain what I'm talking about in this because it's critical and you want an advisor who understands these concepts. So when I have written several of my books, my 3rd book became a New York Times, Wall Street Journal #1 bestseller. It was called Last Chance Millionaire. Came out in 2007. And in the preface of that, I talk about 4 up to 5 different types of mentalities or people that's either intergenerational or through somebody's lifetime. And I call them strivers, arrivers, thrivers, survivors, and divers. So in a nutshell, a striver are what a lot of advisors call the financial jellyfish. They will always have too much month left at the end of their money and so forth. They are the masses, unfortunately. And so there's a lot of advisors that you see on TV and so forth. That's their market. And behind closed doors, they say, my market are the financial jellyfish. And I realized a long time ago, no, if people are not disciplined to live on less than what they earn and so forth, they need to go to those advisors to finally learn how to get out of debt or whatever. I'll let them do that. But once they become mature financially, those advisors are not the ideal ones anymore for those people, okay? And so these are the arrivers who begin to arrive at some financial independence. They understand 3 marvels of wealth accumulation: compound interest, tax-free accumulation, and safe positive leverage. And so those are the arrivers. This is where our key market begins. So all of the net that I throw out, all my books and my educational videos are mostly for these people here, okay? Now, arrivers are different than thrivers. Thrivers repeat the process. It's not a one-off. Instead of getting one rental home, for example, if they're going to try to do real estate, they get multiple rental homes. They continue to leverage safely with liquidity. But it's not just one of them. They don't just get one laser fund. They end up with several laser funds throughout their lifetime. So thrivers repeat the process. Now, survivors are those that sometime hit retirement. I've never liked the word retire. It actually means put out of use. Do you know that? It came out in the Industrial Revolution where in the factories, when equipment got worn out, they would retire worn out equipment. Most people would work in the fields or as farmers till the day they died. They decided to come up with putting people out of use by retiring people and replacing them with younger people cheaper. And so when all of a sudden people retired, the average life expectancy was only 7 years because you put people out of use. If they don't redefine themselves, they are 6 feet under within 7 years. And that's when Social Security was introduced. And that's why Social Security was only designed to have to pay out benefits for 7 years after somebody retired. And now people are living longer and they're running up healthcare costs. And that's why, Social Security is a train wreck waiting to happen. The government owes about $130 trillion in future Social Security benefits. And if they stopped collecting money out of people's paychecks, they would be broke in that fund in 9 months. Okay. And so those are sometimes survivors who then retire, put themselves out of use, and they hunker down and just want to survive. I like to capture them. I like to rescue them before they get into that mentality and redefine themselves. So this is my ideal market. The divers are the ones who just say, no, I'm just going to try to hang on until I die, and they end up dying. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So once I identified that, then I began to ask myself 4 questions about how do I find these people and serve them the best? Because these are not my ideal ones. Okay. So there are 4 different questions that your advisor should understand about you. Number 1, what are the attributes of their ideal client? Okay. I ask myself, what are the attributes? Now, you may not be able to read this here, but I do this all the time. I want my clients to be open-minded, punctual appointment keepers, grateful for the advice, free in their expression of their feelings to me. I want them to be open-minded, okay, and be open with me. Honest in communication, use the tools that I provide, respect and trust me, and have high values like I do, that they value family and faith and so forth. If they don't, they're not going to be happy. I'm not trying to discriminate. I'm just saying, you're probably not a right fit. You will not be happy working with us if these attributes don't align with mine, okay? And so if your advisor doesn't understand this, I would think twice. Now, and the second question is, what makes my ideal client tick? Your advisor needs to understand what makes you tick. In other words, what is your main purpose for living? Who and what is most important to you? I do that the very first appointment. I cannot believe how many advisors that I have met that do not know the answers to these questions about most of their clients, okay? And so that is the second differentiator. Your advisor should understand this about you. The third thing is, what do your ideal clients expect you to deliver? So with you in mind, you need to understand, okay, what does my advisor ask me so that they understand what I expect that advisor to deliver to me? If they've never asked you that, what would you like me to deliver? What did you want to accomplish most? Which is one of the very first questions I ask when I meet with people. What did you want to accomplish most? And if we were sitting here 3 years from today, what has to have happened in your life in the last 3 years to be happy with the progress you made? And people go, wow, I've never been asked that question before by a financial advisor. I go, well, I like to know and understand this, or else it's probably not a right fit. And I'm not afraid to let them go. I only want to work with people that are in alignment with what I offer. So I go down and I say, well, give them the same advice and direction that I follow. I only want to give them the advice that I use myself. Okay? I practice what I preach. I want to clarify principles and be thorough, be available directly and indirectly, communicate openly and honestly, be courteous and professional, return phone calls, okay? Be proactive. In other words, have the latest and greatest, stay on top of the current trends and what's going on, be on time, finish what we start, and always say please and thank you. Yeah, so that's what I make clear. Your advisor should know what you expect them to deliver. And if they never ask you that, hello, maybe you ought to change advisors. Okay? Now, what's the fourth question? What do you need to do to improve your relationship with your ideal client is what I teach these advisors. So you ought to be asking yourself, has my advisor ever asked, and in our annual meetings, our annual reviews, hopefully they're meeting with you on a regular basis, what are they trying to do to enhance our relationship? If it's a slam, bam, thank you, ma'am, heard you through the process feeling, maybe you ought to rethink your thinking as far as the right financial firm or advisor for you, okay? So it's those four things that your advisor should understand about you, because to be honest with you, sometimes advisors think it's about them. And immediately they start looking at all the alphabet soup behind their name and look, this is my history and I do this. It's me, 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 me. And I go, you know what? I start right off the bat. Tell me about how you built this incredible business. Tell me about how you met your spouse. Tell me what's most important to you. And I start talking about them. It's not about me. It's about them. If your advisor is always talking about themselves, you may want to rethink your thinking. They should be talking about you, okay? And so that's the purpose of understanding these four things. So again, what are the attributes of my ideal client? What makes my ideal client tick? What do your ideal clients expect you to deliver? And what do you need to do to improve your relationships? That's what I tell the advisors that they need to ask themselves. You need to make sure your advisor is understanding these four things about you, okay? And so it's like in the book Blue Ocean Strategy, which has been a #1 business bestseller for years. It connotes that there's a blue ocean of opportunity out there. But there are a lot of advisors that deal in a red ocean. What does that connote? Bloody, okay? Dog-eating dog, shark-eating shark world. And that is so sad to me, where they're trying to build themselves up. There's a lot of advisors out there that only operate by tearing down other advisors. That's the only way that they can operate, is if they tear down all the other buildings in town so that they're the last one standing. And there's a whole bunch of advisors out there that are critics. Critics are a dime a dozen. And I've been in all kinds of major capitals throughout the world, and I've seen so many statues, but I've never seen a statue erected to a critic. But there's a lot of financial advisors that are simply critics, and they're always criticizing somebody, and I have a lot that criticize me, and they're just trying to make themselves look better by tearing me down or whatever, and they don't even know what they don't know. So the Blue Ocean Strategy book talks about how to create a blue ocean. And one of the key things that I've learned is to focus on solving my clients' DOS. This came from Dan Sullivan. DOS is an acronym. D stands for dangers. To help my clients eliminate the greatest dangers that cause most people maybe to outlive their money in retirement. I'll give you an example here in a moment. Eliminate the barriers. Next is to help my clients seize the greatest opportunities. I don't want them to miss out on the greatest opportunities. And number 3, to use the best strengths. My strengths, their strengths, and the strengths of what I'm recommending. So when you focus on doing that, instead of being in this competitive world where you're trying to tear down other people, yep, there's a lot of advisors out there that do nothing but tear down other advisors. And so they spend 80% of their time doing that, and only 20% of their time really focused about you. You need to flip that. The secrets to my success have always been 80% of my time is focused on solving my clients' DOS, okay? It's like a blue ocean of opportunity. So let's talk about the 3 biggest dangers that cause most retirees to outlive their money that I've eliminated for years. Taxes. Most people in retirement, when they start taking money out of IRAs and 401ks, they pull out $100,000 and they only net $65,000 because they have to pay tax, and they thought they were going to be in a lower tax bracket. I eliminate that by using a laser fund, a max funded IUL, which is tax-free. So it doesn't matter what taxes go to in the future because of irresponsible government spending or the printing of money. I'm immune from taxes because I convert to tax-free. Inflation. Inflation will cut the purchasing power of the American dollar in half about every 5-7 years at the current rate of inflation as of the recording of this episode. It's like a hidden tax. Third is market volatility, where people lose sometimes 20, 30, 40% by having their money in the market. And most advisors just say, hey, hang in there. The market will always come back. Well, you need predictable income. You can't just wait around for the market to come back. So those are the 3 dangers that I eliminate for my clients. Your advisor ought to do the same thing, or maybe rethink your thinking of changing advisors. What are the 3 greatest opportunities? To convert to tax-free vehicles. That's why my favorite vehicle is a max-funded indexed universal life policy. I'm immune from taxes. You link your returns to the things that inflate. I don't like inflation any more than anybody, but it doesn't hurt me. It helps me. I've always been able to outpace inflation. In 1980, inflation was 10%. I earned 15.5%. In 2021, inflation hit 15% plus, and many of our clients earned 25 and even 61% on their indexed universal life policies. And then market volatility, we eliminate that by using indexing, indexed universal life, where you make money if the market goes up, but you do not lose one dime when the market goes down, because your money's not invested in the market. So those are the 3 opportunities that I'm passionate about teaching people like you about. And then what are the greatest strengths? Well, I like to educate people and so forth, but the strengths of indexed universal life are the key elements of a prudent investment. Liquidity, the ability to access your money when you need it and not have to wait till the market comes back. 2, safety of principal, so that no matter what happens when the market goes down, you don't lose. And any year you make money, like in 2021, people made 61%. We had a client that started out in March of 2020 with $800,000. And by the end of March of 2021, 1 year later, that $800,000 had grown to $1,380,000, made over $500,000. If the next year the market dropped 40%, he does not lose one dime of the $500,000 he made the year before. That's called safety of principal. Number 3 is a rate of return. Not pie in the sky rates of return. You're not going to earn 25 and 61% every year, but you'll probably average between 6 to 10%, especially if you rebalance. You'll probably end up every $1 million will generate a 10% payout, $100,000 a year of tax-free income without depleting principal. Okay? So that's predictable rates of return. So folks, if you want to learn more and you realize, golly, my advisor does not understand me, well, you can go through and learn on your own and then find an advisor. I can point you to those who understand how to optimize assets and minimize taxes. My favorite vehicle I've alluded to is Max Funded IUL. So this is my 11th book. It's called The Laser Fund, which is a properly structured maximum funded IUL, done correctly by advisors who get it. Unfortunately, 99% of advisors out there don't know how to do it correctly. Now, this retails for $20 on Amazon. Don't pay that. I'll gift you a copy for free. You claim your free copy by simply going to laserfund.com, laserfund.com, or click on the link below. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling, have some skin in the game. I'll cover the rest of that cost, and I will pay for the book, and I'll fire it out to you. And you can watch and learn. You can listen and learn. There's all kinds of options in there. But this is about you and your brighter future. And there you'll be able to make an appointment with one of the financial advisors out there that I trust knows how to do this correctly and follows the guidelines that I've laid out in this video episode. So here is to your brighter future.